welcome to Train Sim World 6. I discovered something after recording the last video. I can go into Train Depot and select. That's how many scenarios I've completed. 72 out of 237. But I can collect this, or I can select this and then choose whichever loco I want to use. What I want to do is try one of the military trains on West Coast Main Line, Preston to Carlisle. I feel that taking some tanks along the entirety of the route would be fun. In snow as well. So, that's what I'm going to do. Class 47/4. A load of war wells and some tanks. Not sure whether we're starting in Preston or Carlisle. But we go the full length of the line. Here we go. Glen Douglas MOD to Bicester, so it's from the north. Yeah, this is Carlisle. Welcome aboard 6 Victor 64 on its journey south to MOD site at Bicester. We've got a crew change and we'll be on our way shortly. So make sure everything is set up. I'm just checking the headlights, so yep, they're on. Key in. I can do that without getting up, that's good. That is unisolated. Do the DSD. Doesn't have DSD. Headlight on. Brake to first application. Wait. Reverser to forward. Don't need to worry about windscreen wipers. Let's just look. We've got all the lights on. We're in 47526 Northumbria. And we have APCs. Armoured Personnel Carriers. I thought it was meant to be tanks. Oh well. And not many. The Mark 1 NHA. That is a... Why is that up? I'm going to go into camera 3 because I want to make sure there's a brake light on the back. I've still got a red light, so I can do this. Once we are out of... We don't want a white. We want red. Though I might put a white on as well. That's the... So that side. But that going, and a class 87, which is Robert Arkwright, or Richard Arkwright. There's the 47 on the passenger. We've got to wait for that to clear section before we can go. We're on level track. can completely release the brakes. Make sure AWS is reset. Emergency brake valve is fine. Handbrake released. Might end up getting dark before we get to the bottom, so the cab light might have to go on. Because it's 3:30 in the afternoon. Okay, we have the road. It's a light train today, consisting of just 8 well wagons and accompanying barriers. The train will still be limited to 60 miles per hour. Of course, because that's what the APCs are limited to. Or the well wagon. War wells are limited to 60 miles an hour. APCs are not actually allowed to go on the road. Once we're out into the sun, I will get a thumbnail image. We'll be on the up slow. That's guaranteed. There's another 101 on its way in. There's another 47 just sitting out of, or waiting to be used over there. I want to get into the sun to get a photo of, or a screenshot. I always call them photos. Screenshot of go in the sun. That looks gorgeous. Do that, because it makes it look more I want the APC in shot, actually. That would make a better thumbnail image. Like that. And then we get one of Northumbria. That's got the train in the background blurred. What is that loco? That is 47418, which is not named. Okay. Head to Plumpton up Goods Loop, so we're stopping every now and then. That's okay. It enables chance to relax. Right, we can go up to 60 miles an hour. There isn't actually a up slow. It's up and down along here, unfortunately. Otherwise we wouldn't end up being looped. The other scenarios for the military cargo lines are on Great Western Express. So I might do some of them at some point as well. Not sure what locos are used on that, but it's the lorries. Anything on shed? No. Got some coaches. I forgot to look as we went past. On the intermodal service, or liner service, we had to stop here to enable Class 87 hauled express to head south. This time we go to Plumpton before we get looped. with a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. This route looks even more amazing in the snow. That's quite cool. Especially with the early evening sunlight shining through every now and then. I want to get to a point where the track's curving to the right in the sun. And get some more screenshots. Because why not? It just should look quite cool in the snow. There's a river down to our left. The sunlight reflecting off the window because the sun is really low over there. I want the train lit up as we go around a bend. Even if some of it is in shadow. Out there. That works. Change the focal point again so we get the whole train in. That looks... depth of field, not focal point. That looks cool. The snow being kicked up. The sunlight on the APCs. The orange cast to the sunlight, which is only just above the horizon. It really does look quite cool. I don't know if that is actually a white or a red. Looks white. Which is why I put the Fred flashing rear end device on. Because that basically... what's the thought? These are KWA wagons. Maximum speed 60 miles an hour. The tanks would just, or APCs in this case, drive across from one end to the other with end-on loading. Oh, that looks quite cool. We'll carry on. Find the next potential photo op. And see what we can get screenshots of. I do have a high suspicion that we're going to end up arriving at Preston in the dark, because we've got to loop at Plumpton Goods, probably Penrith, Oxenholme, Lancaster, down to Preston. Those will be where we're looped. So, well, does it give a time for when we're supposed to get down there? No, it's not timetabled. At least we're not having to be looped at Shap. Okay, it's the summit of the line. There's the motorway. Really snowy. It's the summit of the line at Shap, but it's quite a distance to get there. 26 miles from Carlisle, I think. So it's not a quick blast before being looped. Whereas 12 miles is quick. In a shallow cutting, which is why I can't see the sun. Must admit, the slight orange light from the sun really does make this feel more realistic, and in the evening. Really good. You get the orange glow on the trees and the whitey blue, bluey white everywhere else. It feels quite good. .2 miles. Can knock the speed back a little bit. This will take a while to do. I can guarantee that. I mean, 60 miles an hour. The journey is around 80 miles. We're being looped, so it'll take probably more than 2 hours in-game time, and even longer on the video because I go into photo mode quite a bit. It's already starting to get dark in the cab. Put the instrument lights on. You can see what they're doing. As I said, the cab lights will go on if it gets really dark. So at the moment we can actually see the cab, which is important. It's when the cab is almost blacked out that cab lights will need to go on. So that will make looking out a bit more difficult. Doing a nice speed. At the moment I haven't got a warning for speed restriction. I will do when I'm getting to Preston, for the simple fact that we'll be going into the loop, which is a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. But we won't get that until we are right on it, which is not yet. I must admit, the cab sway in this is quite good. Has just the right amount. You can turn it up or down in the settings. But compared to the earliest train sim games, it actually feels more realistic. You even get the super elevation on curves, which you didn't with Microsoft Train Sim. I think the other one at the time was BVE Sim, as well as the earliest version of Trains with a Z at the end. And Trains has always been a game rather than a simulation. While some people did create representations of real railways, it was always meant to be a game, not a sim. Intercity train. I don't think we... Oh, we might... Unless the sun's... No, the sun's behind hill now. We won't get into the sunlight again, because the sun has set. I would love this to be a bit earlier in the day. Okay. Throttle back. Going uphill, so it will slow down anyway. When we get to the next signal, start applying the brake. 20 miles an hour for Plumpton Upwards loop, not 15. So, oh well. The signal will be red for the junction until we're close enough, and then it will change to yellow. Always does. And then we go into the goods loop. Bring my speed down. The next signal is 1 mile away. By the time I reach it, I'll be at a crawl. I'm going up a 1 in 167. So we should definitely be slowing down without braking. I need to get down below 20 miles an hour anyway. And be prepared to stop. Probably won't have to stop, but I'll need to be prepared to stop. Let's use the loco brake. Bring the speed down. below 20. Okay, don't do that, just use that one. It's cleared. That signal has gone to show going into the loop. Which is why I'm crawling. A little bit more power. And coast. The loop is just up there. You can see the crossover. Just coasting at 15 miles an hour and being prepared to stop while in the loop to enable express to pass. Sun's definitely set. Over one crossover and going into the loop. Go. Red signal. We'll just crawl along. Hopefully by the time the entire train is in the loop, won't be too long before the up express or passenger service comes through. And then I shouldn't, theoretically, need to stop for long. We should be in the loop now, fully in the loop. That's the signal. To a stop just at the checkpoint. Knew that it'd come through. Let's go past the checkpoint. Next stop, or next loop, Penrith, 4.8 miles away. I'm just gently creeping forward. So I'm waiting for my signal. Currently that trap point will be against me. No, it won't. So we've got yellow. And on to Penrith. 20 miles an hour leaving the loop. And then up to 60 miles an hour once we're on the main line. get some screenshots in Penrith, I think. I think by the time I get to the next signal, it'll have cleared to green. Given that I'm not going very fast at the moment. Right, 4.5 miles to Penrith. And then we can see everything. I'll test that. Doesn't let me test the fire alarm. That's bad. Starting to get a bit dark in the cab, but it's still light enough that can see things. Especially if I look down, because it then lightens up. Whereas if I look out the cab, it makes everything dark. But the outside is light enough anyway. So when the outside gets really dark, that I'm going to have to do that. There's not point having it on at the moment. There's the switch for the left-hand side. Said it'd go to green, didn't I? Nearly 50 miles an hour. .6 miles. Didn't take long to get up to 50. But then it's a relatively light train. Just have to remember to brake early for loops and yeah, it'll be looped at Penrith, Oxenholme, Lancaster, and then stopping at Preston. Next signal's currently yellow. It'll clear before we get to it. Oh no, it won't. Because we're 2.7 miles from Penrith, where we'll be looped again. Once we get to that yellow, double yellow, I will cut power. Like so. This route feels even more gorgeous in the snow. Especially at this time of day. It's just... the sun's completely set, and well, it feels like a winter's evening. That was a occupation crossing, so sounding the horn was a good idea. Unfortunately, I can't see far enough ahead to see any others. I only see them at the last second. Okay, start applying brake. So there's the single yellow. We're being looped at Penrith. Hence the next signal being red. And then we are coast for a bit. Going uphill again, so speed will start dropping anyway. But the slower I come at a signal, the more chance it has of changing before I get to it. For a game engine that's fairly old, because this runs on Unreal Engine 4, they're developing 6 now, but for an old game engine it still looks pretty amazing. Wrong one. I wanted a bit of throttle just so I don't stall before I get to the signal, which is 500 yards away. Just round the bend. It's, as I said, it goes to yellow. There's an 80 mph speed limit, which it'll be lower than that in the station. We are now on the edge of Penrith. There's a substation for the power, the overhead power lines. You don't notice that when you're going at full line speed. That is a gorgeous sunset over there, even though the sun's over that side. As I said, the game is amazing. Being able to have things that look so stunning. Make signals gone to yellow. Coming through at just over 20 miles an hour is probably the best thing. I have a feeling the next signal... Oh, it's yellow, so... It might be because the train in front of me stopped. And I'm not being looped. Soon find out. Something I want to do, once I've gone past the cyan cone of objectiveness, is get a shot like that, with the station name in the background. And then that. It's an interesting station, Penrith. You've got the main platforms, and then over here, if I can go down into it, platform 3 is half blocked. It's a shorter platform, so it'll just be... It used to be a bay platform. It'll just be things like the 101s and Class 47 with 4 coaches. It's got a goods yard, the old cattle dock. I don't need to worry about looking for collectibles. There's only 2 that I haven't got. British Rail. Just Trains Developments, JTD. Because that's who created this. I wonder what Penrith Castle looks like in the snow. How about that for a shot? That looks quite amazing. But the castle is quite stark against the background. That looks cool. You can actually get the camera a little bit in There we go. And then there's the station with my APCs. Armoured Personnel Carriers. Which are quite cool, especially with the snow on them. Close up on one with the about one with the castle in the background. That work? Yeah. Okay, we'll carry on. That was just playing. A bit more throttle again. So, we've been looped once. 25 miles to Oxenholme, which means we go past Shap. Because Shap is between Oxenholme and Penrith when going north. Or Penrith and Oxenholme when going south. Like this. I genuinely have no idea how dark it'll get before we get to Preston. Nor do I know if we'll be stopping again over the M6. Could really do with some tyre marks in the snow. (1986). I think it was a winter with snow. Over something. Don't know how many more opportunities there will be for screenshots. But if it gets too dark, then it becomes a lot more difficult to take screenshots. Because it would just be too dark. But if it stays reasonably light all the way, can I put that on? Does it give me a... oh, it gives me a reflection over there. Use that for lighting up the cab. That's nice. It's not going to blind me either. So that'll light up the cab. So if it gets dark, I can use the Bardic. Like I am. Because that's a pleasant light. Whereas that is not as... it's just a bit... it's two lamps, one there, one there. This just feels like you're in a... possibly in a tent, just using a hand lamp. I'll turn that off for now, because I don't need it just yet. But when it starts... ooh, I'm speeding. When it starts getting dark, that's a possible screenshot. The military train going over the big viaduct. With the river. Red sky at night, shepherd's delight. Red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning. trying not to speed. That's the first time I've actually sped. Or second time. At least it's not excessive speeding. Which I have done on other videos. Accidentally. I want to try and stay within the speed limit. Here's the next loop. Goods loop. We're not being routed into. So obviously we're going through at a time when there's not as many southbound passenger services. Which is interesting. That is a gorgeous sunset. That side is just yellowy orange. It should turn really red later. Going up a 1 in 123, so we need a bit more power. What's needed on this is independent snowplows. That would make driving over Shap or any other place with that goes high realistic, because you could do scenarios where you've got to clear snow. I know there's I know there's the possibility of class 47, class 20, class 37 with miniature snow plows spawning in, but let me just go into photo mode. This one hasn't got miniature snow plows. Class 20s, it's 1 in 6 chance, I think, for it to spawn in with miniature snowplows. Class 37's about the same as well. It's not guaranteed that you'll get miniature snowplows. 2 freights in a row. That's weird. Steel and then Freightliner, as they were back then. Intermodal as they're known now. That started showing up orange yet. It's light, but it is a bit orangey. While it's light outside, I don't mind not having the cab lit up. When it gets dark, that will come back on. Or it doesn't give us the same type of light as having the Bardic on. The Bardic just offers light without having to use the cab light. We have 20 miles to Oxenholme. Oxenholme is another 40 odd miles to Preston. It will be dark when we get to Preston. But it'll be the first time I've driven a service that starts in the daylight and goes through to dusk. I've not done that yet. This really does feel so realistic. Base game does either dawn or dusk really well. The route developer for this, Just Trains, have made, as with Crew to Preston and Blackpool branches and Northern Transpennine and Tees Valley, their routes are amazing. They put a lot of effort in and it's well worth it. The Crew to Preston route was the first route I've ever bought on day of release. Mainly because I'd seen previews of it in action and I was blown away. Admittedly, my system does struggle at times. I mean, I can't do a full length run on the line without having to slow down significantly for Warrington, because there's a lot of detail. However, it's still a stunning route. Here's the only tunnel on the line. So for the tunnel, because I know it'll be dark, there we go. Light on, light off. 17 miles to Oxenholme. Doing 55 miles an hour. That's a nice speed. Intercity. I do like this route. It's one of my top routes. It's definitely one that I would suggest people get if they haven't got it. The detail is amazing. It's a decent length. The included scenarios for class 47, class 87, class 101 and class 08 are all really good. And then you get cargo lines, which adds the military one, which I'm doing, and the nuclear. And that adds even more to it. Being able to drive... Ooh, it suddenly went light then. Being able to drive services that go from one end of the line to the other with special cargo is fun. Admittedly, you're going a lot slower with military and nuclear trains, but it's a traffic that does, or did, use the line. The nuclear still uses the line, though nowadays it's usually Class 68s or Class 66 on the front in DRS livery. I'm going to cut back on throttle because we're on a level bit of track. We're not at Shap Summit yet, but we are at a section that is level. And if the engine was running, I'd be speeding. There's even line-side industries on this route. Admittedly, there aren't actually any scenarios that serve them, but that is Hardendale, which is over there. I believe that that is a dairy of some sort, maybe. We're slowing down, but a lot more than I thought. We're going up. Now the cab light is a bit dark, so that you can still see out the front. It just means that you can see what the cab. That is such a nice mellow light. Just means you can see the cab. It'll be difficult when it starts getting really dark outside, but sun's off that way. That's to the west, and then east. It's the first time I've done a scenario that's at sunset, and it's quite fun. I think this is Shap. I'll soon find out because there's a sign on the left that says Shap Summit. There's the loop. No, it's not yet. This is T-Bay. Let's just check. Oh no, this is Shap. So this is Shap Summit. It's now downhill most of the way to Preston. There are some bits that go uphill, but it's mostly downhill. And I'm glad I came up from the other side to reach the summit, for the simple fact that trying to take a train in the snow up a 1 in 75 would be interesting, to say the least. I'm deliberately braking because it's quite a steep gradient. I want to get down below 45 miles an hour before I release the brakes. Otherwise, I'll end up speeding. Such a beautiful area. See if using the loco brake about there might reduce the rate at which I accelerate. Problem is, it could burn the brakes out, which wouldn't be good. I don't think that's actually a feature in the game though, so I don't know. That's a gorgeous sky. Keep saying it, but I mean it. Really is a gorgeous sky. No, I'm not going to use that brake. Don't want to burn the brakes out. I'll just use the train brake. When I start getting too quick. So it's quite a steep gradient. And as I said, in real life you wouldn't be doing that. You'd be using the entire train brake to bring the speed, or manage the speed. They haven't got light on. Naughty. This is a really long gradient to go down. Probably feels longer going the other way, which is why steam tours from one direction they go via the Settle and Carlisle, which is usually northbound, and the other direction they use Shap. That's usually southbound because it's a less of a gradient heading south than it is heading north. As is being demonstrated with this run, because it's been 2 miles of 1 in 75 so far. I'm sure in the days of steam there would have been banking locos for northbound services over Shap. Those are locos that go at the rear end of the train and push. The most famous banking locos were the Midland Railway's 010 Big Bertha. That's got a light on. It's on freight. Big Bertha ran on the Licky Incline, which is in game as the Birmingham City line goes from Bromsgrove up towards Birmingham. That's a 1 in 70. Steepest sustained gradient in Britain. The other banking engine that was famous was the LNER U1 Garrett, 280 plus 082 loco that operated to push long coal trains up Wellington Bank on the East Coast Main Line. Did get trialled at Licky when the Big Bertha, or Big Emma, whatever you want to call it, was undergoing maintenance. When Big Bertha was retired, it got replaced by a 9F 210. Where's this? see. T-Bay. So, T-Bay is the other side of Shap to Penrith. Okay, nice to know. Going down a 1 in 149 now, which is a slightly better gradient. I'm just letting gravity do its job. Feels quite relaxing doing this. There's the M6. T-Bay Services is back there. I'm deliberately leaving windows up because it's cold. There's snow on the ground. And in real life you would not have the window open in the snow. 8.8 miles to Oxenholme. I have no idea if I will have to stop. Ooh, we're on level track for a few minutes. Or a few seconds, one or the other. That little river down in the valley is quite cool. If I take the window down, it shows what the engine noise is. Just means I can look out the window without the bright spot from the Bardic getting in the way. This is really quite cool. The sunlight or sunset light looks amazing. Ooh, we're going uphill slightly. I'm not going to start throttling up unless I really slow down. One thing I want to do though, because I like how that looks, is a shot with the sunset in the background. There's even stars coming out now. How about one with the APC? That work? Maybe if I have without the OHLE pole in the background. And then like that. Admittedly, shouldn't really have light on in the cab, but for video recording purposes, it's better. But that is, there's the stars. If you're watching big screen, can't see them if you're watching on mobile device, unfortunately. But the stars are coming out. That is just gorgeous. I'll keep saying that while I'm doing video. Slowing down a bit too much. We've just gone to 42. I don't know why I did that with a Scottish accent. if I'd ever gone into racing, that would have been my number. Either that or 6. 42 or 6. As I put, or asked in the last video, is there anyone who gets the references? 42. That one is probably the better known one. I mean, if you don't know what 42 relates to, where have you been? Whereas number 6 and number 2, you have to be perhaps a little bit older or cultured to understand what they're about. Unless you have family members that know and they've taught you. So in that instance, there's also number 8, number 616, number 66. Strangely enough, no number 7. Absolutely nothing with a 7. Even multiple digits, there were no 17, 27, 37, 47, 57, 67, 77, 87, 97, or triple digits, or there's no number higher than 616 actually shown on screen. Yes, it is a TV series. But the creative genius behind it did not want number 7 to appear on anything. There is a reason for that. Basically, it had religious connotations, and he did not want to imply that the show was overtly religious, despite he himself being devoutly Catholic. There's also no number 3. The lowest number regularly seen was number 2 in every episode. This will be really dark in the dusk as we go under the M6. 5.8 miles to Oxenholme. After Oxenholme, it's a short jaunt to Carnforth. Then we go over the 2 level crossings. Then it's the junction to Morecambe, both the north bit and the south bit. And then Lancaster. I'm going to call it Lakeland for a second. Lancaster, and then Preston. Oh, we're speeding up. Obviously going downhill. Slow down. I'm enjoying doing this. Admittedly, it's making me concentrate. It's not simple set the regulator and go. I mean, even if it had been, you'd have to throttle back and use the brakes and all that lot as you went over Shap. I don't think there's any routes where you can just do that because of gradients and speed restriction changes. But this is quite enjoyable. You can now see the headlight working on the snow just in front of the loco. If I put the cab light on, I don't know if it makes it too dark. It doesn't actually. But I just like how that lights up. Makes it more photogenic. A little bit more braking. We're going down at 1 in 109 gradient now. Over another river. Bring the speed back down. Around 45 again. There we go. Brakes fully released. Down to 42 again. As I said, if you know the references, put them in the comments. Show that you've watched at least this far. Show me that my videos are being watched. And show others that you're also doing the same. You don't have to say anything about anything else, just comment what the references are. What's 42 from? What are numbers 6 and 2 from? Not that I've been down at 6 or 2 miles an hour for some time. It's also how I end each video. Even my kit building videos, when I am able to do them, I end with 3 words. Be seeing you. Where's that from? Give it a clue. It's the same place as numbers 2 and 6. Or 6 and 2. I want to know that people actually watch my videos. And not just the first 30 seconds. So, interact with me. let me know that you're enjoying the videos. I know my kit building videos people watch all the way through because I look at the analytics, and on that 80% of people watch all the way through. It's the train sim videos I want to know if people are watching all the way through. I prefer doing long form videos like this. For me, they are easier. Ooh, it's getting really dark over on the east. I don't like watching shorts, so making a short is really difficult. Unless I just do short clips of real railway or real trains passing by, making a short is really difficult. Though I do have a plan for something over the summer, which will be London to Brighton in about a minute, and that'll be a short. Be my first ever short. Because I'll be doing it as a sped up video, as British Rail did back in the 70s or 80s. The atomic train to Bristol. Not Bristol, Brighton. London to Brighton. If you search YouTube, you can actually find it. It took just over a minute. And it's just sped up. Which is what I'm going to do. For me, it'll be recording it at normal speed. Stopping at all the stations. And loading passengers. Everything like that. This is Oxenholme. So we will get some screenshots around here. With the gentle glow from the station building. Like that. That works. How about the APCs? Ooh. Oh. There's one of the collectibles, which I've already done. Midday Scott. Other way. A rare chance to experience steam power over Shap and Beatuk. 10th of September 1986. There's the mints that I've eaten. So I've definitely done the castle. Which is meant to be Carlisle. It actually says on it, Carlisle Castle. Ooh, can go out here. What's the outside of the station look like? It's a bit less impressive. How about an APC lit up by station lights with the background? There we go. Is the flashing rear end device correctly illuminated? Not at the moment. But that is definitely a white light. Instead of being red. There's light on in the cascaded Mark 1 BG NHA. And same in that one. That works. That's the first. It locked up. I want a shot that looks interesting. There we go. Carry on. We've now got 18 miles to Lancaster with Carnforth between us and the junction for Morecambe. And then it's 23 miles from there, I believe, to Preston. By the time we get to Preston, it will be pitch black. And then, Snorri will be over. As I said, I'm enjoying this. It's the first time I've seen an in-game sunset. So, it's really quite good. The colours of the sky are amazing. Which is... let's make it a bit quieter. Colours of the sky are amazing. It does feel as though you're in a winter sunset. Admittedly, I've done one on the Thomas Visits the West Somerset Railway add-on, where it went to sunset. That wasn't a scenario. That was timetable. And I got the weather set up wrong, because it was raining. This, however, is clear, but with snow. And it makes it amazing. Let's go out and look at the stars. Wow. You can actually see the stars. Reflection of my lights on the cutting wall. That's cool. Just shows how bright that light is. The fact that it's shining on the cutting side. Oh, we're going uphill again. Bit more power. We've got to go through Carnforth. Then through Lancaster. And then to Preston. Where, in game, a different driver will take over. almost as though we are... I'm going to turn that off now. It's reflecting too much in the windows. There we go. You can still see, which I was worried about not being able to see the lights. But I don't want the bright reflection in shots, so I've turned it off now. Without the headlights, it's a bit dark. So having the headlights on is a good idea. Can I move that? No. Ooh, speeding up too much. Then again, we're going down a 1 in 180 gradient, so yeah, would be speeding. Put the brake on a bit. And bring speed down to about 45 again. And then it can just build back up as we go down the gradient, or incline, whatever you want to call it. That is... I'm gonna have to do that. Get in the cab. How about that for a screenshot? That works. And so does that. Make a shot like that. There we go. I'd laugh if that ended up being the one that gets shared as a rail fan shot in loading. Driver's brake, straight brake, horn, wiper. Don't need the tail lights on. It just looks so amazing. Admittedly, it should be like that in real life, but that doesn't make a good video. Too much blacked out. Around the window. If I was doing this without recording it, then I'd drive it authentically. As in, like that. Because that's how it's supposed to be driven. But I'm doing this for video, so it's a bit silly having a lot of the screen black. That is so amazing. And now the other side is just dark. One thing they should try to do, because we're further north, is have aurora over there. Well, over there. Going up about you. Put aurora up there. It'd look amazing in train sim mode. I don't know whether there's possibility of doing that. I know Aurora has come down over most of the UK relatively recently. I mean, just over 2 years ago, I got some amazing photos. 10th of May 2024. That was amazing. I couldn't stay out for the entirety of it because I had work the next day, but it was still amazing. It's an experience you never forget, watching Aurora Borealis, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, Aurora Australis. Nearly at Carnforth. We're doing a nice steady 52 miles an hour. I would just stop at Preston. It doesn't say which platform or line. And as long as I stop where it says and don't pass a red signal, it'll be a decent run. So far, in game, it's taken an hour and a half. Or just under an hour and a half. Taken a bit longer on video because I like to do the screenshots of the station. If I don't do the screenshots, it's quicker, but it doesn't give you something to end videos with, and it definitely doesn't give you a thumbnail image, or give me a thumbnail image. Green signal should be nearing Carnforth. Let's have a look on the map. Where are you? There we go, there's Carlisle. We don't stop at Carlisle, we go straight through. Then it's Lancaster, which is after there's the North Junction for Morecambe, South Junction for Morecambe. And Lancaster is there, and we just go through on the avoiding line. And then, relatively short distance in comparison to the rest of the route to get to eventually. Zoom out so I can get there quicker. Just down here. Preston! 8.5 miles to Lancaster. So we'll be at Carnforth really soon. It's getting really dark out there now. So if I turn the light off, that would be... it'd be easy to do in the on a solo run, speeding, without recording, but for recording, it's better to have the cab light on. Here's Carnforth. So I'm slowing down anyway. Into the edge of Carnforth. I will get some screenshots again in Carnforth. Carnforth in the dark. I think... There's Carnforth. I was wondering where I was then. Hadn't gone past Carnforth. Thought I had, but I haven't. Just feels really nice. That last vestiges of the sun on the horizon off to the west as we approach Carnforth at nearly 5 o'clock, having left Carlisle just after 3:30. Yellow signal. Double yellow. So start slowing down just in case. Possibility of a passenger train leaving. That's interesting. Possibility of passenger train leaving Carnforth. We have to follow. It's gone green. That, if I get the train in the light, that looks quite cool. The light just reflecting. That's a industrial area. And then Carnforth is just over there. Okay, a bit more power. So that I don't stall out on this slight gradient. That is actually quite cool. Don't notice it during the day. And you definitely don't see the yard lamps. It looks stunning at night. That's got white lamps as well as the old yellow lamps. Looks really nice. I wonder if street lamps are the old sodium vapour. It'd be cool if they were. Let's get screenshots going through the old platforms at Carnforth with the light just enough to light up the loco on this side and an APC in the dark. How about this side? That works. And then from over here, we get a bit more light with what looks like the station in the background. What is my insulin pump beeping at me for? Nothing important. Not at the moment, anyway. Right. The advantage of it being dark, you get more... You notice the bumps on the body side more. Anything in Carnforth Steamtown? The answer is... no. Does look so pretty. And then you got the coaling tower, which is higher up than we are. Can I actually go up on top of it? No. Just goes completely black. What about the ash plant? Can we use that to get up? No. Okay. I don't think that would work as a screenshot, unfortunately. But, yeah, that looks really pretty. Right, we'll carry on. We've got 5.8 miles to Lancaster. Even looking through the cab windows, it looks pretty. I don't know what the junctions at Morecambe, the Morecambe branch, will look like. Probably not very photogenic because there's no lights. But the 2-level crossing should be okay. If it's got recreations of sodium vapour lights, then that will make an interesting light source. They are a lot closer to where we are now than when we started. Past a ground signal. Sunset has nearly finished, and then it will just be dark, like over there. "5 miles to Lancaster." The level crossings are near where we can see Morecambe Bay from. Just feels totally different now than when we started, because it's almost pitch black. It's a completely different feel. All the houses with the lights on. Okay, cut power because we're going downhill again. Don't want to be speeding. I've done it a couple of times, but hopefully not enough to get really told off. Green signal. Level crossing. No working street lamps. Those would be sodium vapor. So all we can see, I'll get a screenshot, but can just see inside the cab. And that's about it. That sort of works. I don't know if the other crossing has a light across it. That is just... it's different. Going from daylight to twilight and then full night has made it quite an interesting run. I mean, I'm really having to concentrate on what I'm doing. Both to keep speed within speed limit, but also to see what's going on around me. I think just after that signal is the other level crossing. Where I will once again go into photo mode just to see what it looks like. Yes, it is, because I've just gone past the route indicator. Here it is. This one at least has got some light. So we supposedly get something, but not a lot. What about this side? Do we see more? Maybe. How about from in the window? Don't see a lot because it's lit up. Trying to get a bit where there's no staining on the window. Oh. I've eaten the Kendal mint cake. This is Hest Bank level crossing. Just realised that's still rotated. There you go, it's not rotated anymore. Doesn't make much difference, but it was enough to be annoying. There's Morecambe Bay. You won't see much from the outside at the junction. There's some lights that are turned on. And the Morecambe line diverges just there. So that's Hest Bank Junction. It's a line to Morecambe via Bear Lane, or Bar Lane, and then over just beyond this little bit of ground is the southbound part of the junction, which rejoins just about here. So disconcerting not seeing it clearly. 1.8 miles to Lancaster. We've got green signal, normal line speed. We're going through on the avoiding line. Once again, get some more screenshots as we go through. Wonder if there'll be any passenger services in either of the bays for Morecambe and Windermere, or if there'll be anything on the main platforms. We've got to go over Lancaster Viaduct, over the river, and then we'll have a short blast. I think it's 23 miles to Preston in the dark. As I've said, in real life, I would not be driving with the cab light on. Here's the viaduct. There's Lancaster Abbey. Actually, that might be a good screenshot. Let's go to there. Zoom in. That works. Stars in the background. Don't think my train is... No. Doesn't quite work. It does look so much different in the dark. Right, we'll get through Lancaster Station. We will go back into photo mode. See what it looks like. No trains in any of the platforms. Turn the cab lights off while I'm doing this. It'll look more appropriate with the light off. More authentic, I should say, not appropriate. Do that one. Do that. It just looks better. And then that sort of works with... Oh, there's a thing in the way. There's the Abbey. It just looks amazing in the dark, as well as during the day. 21 miles to Preston. I was 2 miles out. But it's now just a little bit to go. We are probably around 80% of the way. I need to find out how long the actual route is. The way of doing that is getting to Preston and completing the scenario. That's the distance between Preston and Carlisle stations. There's another 3 or 4 miles to the north to get to Carlisle Kingmore yard. And, well, we add that on, and we find out how long the route is. So, 20 miles to go. And then it'll take about another 23 minutes. So 2 hours is about right for the journey, which is cool. The fact that it is broadly pretty accurate with the timing on the scenario list. Ooh, we're catching up to something. Don't know what. Just a little bit of power. Get a bit more speed. We're going downhill again, so I don't want power. I'm having to keep an eye on my speed, gradient, any upcoming speed restrictions. We're slowing down despite going downhill. I want to try and maintain a reasonable speed. I know there's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit in Preston station, which drops to 20 in the platforms, so I will have to slow down for that, but I don't mind doing that. Is this just loops? I think it is. Yes. Good loops. It's so easy to lose track of where you are when you're doing this. I might turn stop marker off for future videos, because it's a bit disconcerting having a white circle with a black hand in the middle, just floating. I don't exactly need it on the track. I can use the heads-up display to tell me where they are. That would also improve realism a bit. So I might just turn it off and watch the heads-up display for things. Throttle back a bit. Okay, a bit more. Doing 58, which is decent speed. We're on level track at the moment. We have 16 miles to go. We've done 5 miles since Lancaster. So, not doing too bad. I just not driven this route in the dark before. So it's just disconcerting and so easy to lose where you are. I mean, the only way I know distance to Preston is by looking at both the stop marker and the heads-up display. If I didn't have them, I would seriously lose where I was. A few things loading in now. Probably a train. Over a crossover in both directions. Doing a decent 59 miles an hour without speed increasing drastically, which is good. Just means that we keep a steady rate to get to Preston. I'm having to occasionally throttle back, otherwise I'd end up speeding, but I don't mind doing that. Because that's how it's meant to be done in real life. Throttle, you basically drive on the throttle. A train, or something in the background. Something in the background. For a second I thought it was a train with coach lights. It's not. Suddenly gone really quiet, which is weird. Earlier on in the scenario there were a lot of other trains. There's been a lot less since I'm gonna say Oxenholme. The last time we saw another train. It's one of the limitations of the game, unfortunately. The most number of services you can put in is 20. So even if you wanted to, for a scenario I mean, even if you wanted to make it feel populated, it's exceedingly difficult to do so unless you're doing a short run. For this, you'd have to do longest run would be Preston to Carnforth to be able to have it feel busy, or Carlisle to Carnforth at the most, possibly even Oxenholme. Still, it's been a nice, relaxing run. I've had to stop once for a signal check and a loop. Otherwise, it's been pretty much go all the way. Yes, I've had signal checks and had to slow right down, But that adds to the realism. And now it is completely dark. The sun has fully set. And it's 5:15. It will be around 5:30 when we get to Preston. So I'm not too worried about timing either. When we're arriving at Preston, I'll probably go into photo mode again, because there'll be some yard lights at the north. If I go out here, there'll be yard lights around here, there, and there's... oh, we have to stop there. Okay. That's not going anywhere. That's going to Glasgow soon. That's the Blackpool line. How far south can you actually see? There's Ormskirk. Something missing there. It's supposed to be a junction to go that. Ooh, I'm speeding. Shouldn't have been paying attention to what I was doing. Or should have been paying attention to what I was doing. That will have cost me some action points. At least it didn't go bright red. Having a red speedo costs you even more. I want to try something. Ooh, that looks cool. That looks really cool. Let's just wait for it to do the sound. The reflection of the signal on the cab is cool. Come on, why are you not doing the noise? There we go. I'm not sure if those screenshots, or one of those screenshots will appear, but it looks quite cool. How about like that as well? Just the reflection of the light from the signal on the cab. It's quite cool. Anyway, we've got 8.4 miles to go. And, well, it's the first time I've tried doing... oh, I've got hiccups. It's the first time I've tried doing that with a signal. And I think that worked. As I do now with all my videos, train sim videos, screenshots will be put at the end. They'll show a progression of the sunset and then the dark, which will make things interesting, because you get to see it going from daylight through to nighttime with the stars out. soon be coming up to the speed limit for Preston, which is, first of all, I think it's 40, then down to 30. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've done a service into Preston from the north. I've not done one from the south yet because I'm still having issues with scenery loading. There is a scenario I want to try on the Crewe to Preston route, which will be probably next week that it comes out, if I can get it going. I mean, I tried it before and then just had it stop working after the emergency stop. It would not let me go forward again. So I want to try that scenario again, going a little bit quicker through Warrington, see if the scenery loads in. If it does, then the emergency stop should happen when we're actually on a downhill gradient. Right. Coming to the edge of Preston now. So should soon get the speed limit up in the top right. And then we'll be able to get to reduce speed. After which it will be go into Preston station, stop, and end the scenario. Ooh, you can see stars. Just up the top corner, as well as out the window. This route is amazing in both daylight and night time. And the frame rates have been pretty consistent, which is amazing. I was expecting them to really struggle, which has not been the case. So yeah, there's a 95 mile an hour speed limit in 2.5 miles, and then it drops further. We're not going anywhere near 95 miles an hour, so that's not too much of an issue. That's the first major bit of stuttering for the entire journey, and that's because Preston's loading in. It's not done too badly. Right. 3.5 miles to our destination. 1.7 miles, and I can find out what the speed limit change will be down to. I think it's 40 or 30. Either one I can reduce my speed down to quite easily. It's whether or not I can get to stop close to the stop marker. Should be able to. Another green signal. I've not been doing the horn because there's no point. It's dark. The line has proper signalling. The foot crossings and occupation crossings, they're not on bends or immediately after bends, so any users would see a train coming anyway. I was only sounding the horn earlier as we passed other trains, and well, we've not passed any other trains, so haven't felt the need to sound the horn. We're now on the 4-track section, which means we are virtually at Preston. So speed coming down. Oh no, not quite at the 4-track section. That's the last loop. I'm still bringing the speed down because we're only 1.4 mile from where we have to stop. And it goes down to 35. So 30 miles an hour should do. And then that will be our journey with the APCs done. I had really wanted them to be tanks rather than APCs, because there is the option of tanks rather than APCs. Ooh, Sunflower's got orange on the outside. I've never noticed that before. But then I've never driven a Class 47 in the dark. There's either church or cathedral at Preston. I never know which it is. We just gently arrive into Preston. See if there's any yard lights that might illuminate our loco. None here. Single yellow. We have... I'm going to do it again. Illuminate with a yellow light. Not as good. Signals is higher up, so it doesn't work as well. Still get a screenshot. But none of the yard lamps are bright enough to illuminate the train. Nearly done. Bring speed down. There's the loco sidings. And that stop marker is a lot closer than you'd expect. Sorry, I need to get a shot of it in the station. Stop marker's not visible because it's hidden. It is now because it's there. So we'll get an APC. Like that. One illuminated by the harsh light with the snow in front of it. What else is in the station before we come to our complete stop? We've got steel wagons, which have been there for at least the last 8 minutes. What's on the front of them? A Class 87. Could just about see the pantograph. And then over here, what looks like a passenger service. Yeah, passenger service. Which is Class 47. Large logo. Ben line. There we go. Get that. And come to a stop. There we go. Great progress. This is a scheduled stop for pathing. Should have had us a bit further along, but yeah. We're done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little bit of speeding. Not as much as I've had previously. I mean, it's only 292.5 points lost for speeding. Used safety systems, got 10,770 points. Total distance driven, 89.9 miles. 90-mile route. Or 90 miles between Preston and Carlisle. That's further than I thought. Took 1 hour, 58 minutes and 10 seconds game time. Reality, it's longer with the video, but... Ooh, I'm nearly up to 116 for personal level. West Coast Mainline Preston Carlisle, I'm level 12. Class 47-4, I'm level 12. I'm nearly upgrading that one to level 13. But I get a platinum medal. Anyway, go back to the main menu. That is all the video for today, apart from the screenshots. Hope you've enjoyed it, and as I said earlier, please comment and say about the references. Or the, yeah, pop culture references. Let people know that you've watched the video and got at least halfway through. Also, let me know how many people actually understand my references. I mean, it's not modern day stuff, but it's still references that are, for me, interesting. Anyway, thank you for watching. As with let me just check something. Throughout the summer, I'm doing live streams on a Friday rather than a Friday upload. So, Wednesday's video will be recorded soon. And then Friday it's live stream, which at the time of recording, I don't know whether I'm going to do Train Sim World or Wonders of Sodor. It all depends on how I'm feeling each day for each live stream. So, please return for Wednesday. And if you do, well, have a good day, good couple of days, and be seeing you.
Productions. Filming trains and events that happen in town.
Wearing his red trilby, Dale can be seen with cameras 3 all set up.
Steam trains and diesels, electrics and freights.
Dickens and fireworks, tractors at Christmas.
Warbler Productions.